Hello everyone, my name is Omega the Real, or Omega if you want to keep it short and simple, and today is a very important video. Because we're finally taking a look at a toy line that I've wanted to take a look at for years. And now that I had an actual affordable way to get one of these without having to pay crazy amounts for shipping, we're going to talk about it. And of course, my friends, I am talking about the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla line. Specifically, the Godzilla vs. Kong translucent heat ray version. Let's talk about it. Now, before we actually talk about Godzilla, I think it's obvious that there's a pretty huge rivalry between toy companies right now. Of course, that being between Bandai's Tamashii Nation's SH Monster Arts line and Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic line. So expect this to be filled with comparisons. Not my fault, I just have to make the comparisons. So with that sort of disclaimer out the way, let's finally talk about the star of this review. Paint and sculpt on Godzilla here is absolutely fantastic. I cannot lie about that. Hiya definitely didn't spare any expense when it came to detailing on Godzilla's scales and all over him. It looks fantastic. I just gotta say, man, look at that. Like, he's got this almost real looking dirty look to him that I feel like doesn't really get exposed as much in many other different kind of Godzilla figures. And if you can almost tell, you can see a little bit of tan dry brushing inside of his scales, almost giving him a sort of dirty looking look to him, which I think is really interesting. And of course, I can't be oblivious to talk about the one thing the paint is doing right on this guy, and it is this atomic breath. And while I do really like Hiya's stylization of the effect, I still gotta go with Monster Arts this one. I'm sorry, I know, I sound like a dick writer, but let me just explain for a bit. They're both attempting the same effect of blue glowy lizard, and they both do really great at it. But I feel like I'm just liking Monster Arts a little bit more, and that's because of how shiny it is, and for one other issue with Hiya. Like any decent articulated atomic breath Godzilla version, he glows due to some translucent parts, but I will say that this technically is kind of off because this is the translucent version. If this was the basic one, it wouldn't glow, but continuing on, I'm getting off track. His spines do light up when light flies through him, which is pretty cool, but one thing I really find weird is about the head. Let's get a better look at this. I couldn't really get the head to work with me, but if you can see that on the foot, his whole body is cast in translucent plastic, which is a yes and a no. As of right now, it's not a problem that he's completely translucent. The problem is he's not the same color throughout the entire body. And that just really irritates me for some reason, because as you can see, it's already starting to chip through some of the parts, i.e. the foot. And I think over time it's just gonna look really gross. So Hiya, you're kind of not that great already, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to be positive, I swear to God here. So overall, his paint and sculpt is pretty damn well done. Just wish he was molded in just one color. But that's fine, I guess we'll live. But finally, moving on from paint and sculpt, how does this guy move? Let's talk about it. Starting off with articulation, Hiya Godzilla's head, of course, can move around, open the mouth, and even, if I can, move his tongue, which is pretty cool, I guess. And the thing about this that I thought was very interesting is that I didn't know that his neck was 3 separate rubber pieces. I thought this was harder plastic. This is very soft rubber, which means you can look a pretty decent bit down. But there is also the thing of gaps, which unlike the Monster Arts version, oh well, you can move him around to fix up any holes with it, but he looks very bald from the top of the head when you try and do it. Moving on to his shoulders, this was I was a little disappointed by. He's got limited shoulders. They're okay, I guess. Not as articulated as other brands, and moving him around is a little tight. And his elbows do not bend a full 90 either. They go back really far, which I think is a little weird. And he's got ball jointed wrists, so I guess it's not all bad, but man, do I wish that was better. And his entire torso is just one piece, so the only thing you're getting is a waist swivel, and where have I seen this before? Wait, I know exactly where I've seen this. This is NECA articulation here. Okay, I switched the Burning Godzilla out for a more appropriate figure, but this is very eerily similar to the Godzilla Hiya Toys one. And I'm not saying they copied, I'm not saying that at all. I just think that's a really interesting comparison to make. You lose one license and you gain another, I guess. It's very interesting. But what's not the same at all is the legs. They may have seemed a little antagonistic. It wasn't. I was just pointing out that they had very similar articulation. But we're going to continue on. The legs are by far the most interesting part to me, because I thought these things were going to be like the NECA, but they are definitely not. So we can move these guys a full 360, and we have a lot of rotation in the hips. This is way more than I thought this was going to be. And double bend at the knee. There's no middle joint here, calf joint, whatever you want to call it, like the Monster Arts. But I don't even think it's that bad, because you can still get some pretty wide poses out of him. And, you know, he doesn't even look that bad doing it. And the tail is, once again, another thing that really feels like a NECA figure, because unlike having 20 or 19 or 21 joints like the Monster Arts, this one only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 joints. A lot less than both NECA and Monster Arts. NECA had 10, this has 9. But that doesn't actually hinder it at all, because this actually feels articulated as well. It's also solid to a point. I kind of forced that on accident. And like you guys can see, it is all transparent. The whole tail is. So, like piping go burr. But, you know, for such a short amount of joints, this is actually pretty damn good. I'm impressed with what they were able to pull off, and overall, his articulation is not bad. Not the worst I've seen, not the best I've seen, but it's still not bad. In a few short words to finish off articulation, this man can move. It's not the best that any Godzilla figure's ever had. I think SH Monster Art still has the title to that, but if you want him to move, he'll move into most poses you want. And man, I think it's very, very nice what this guy is able to pull off with the joints that he has and the ones he doesn't. Overall, I think he's very neat. So moving on, let's talk about accessories and how weird they are. So of course, with this being an Atomic Breath version, Godzilla comes with an Atomic Breath part, and this piece is thick, heavy plastic, and look how long it is. Comparing to the Monster Arts, I feel a little jealous. This is not making Monster Arts look that great, but this is still pretty hefty. It's a little flexible too. Don't bend it to a point where you're gonna snap it, but it is not that fragile. As you can tell, I probably should have been doing that to Hiya. Paint will chip off and then you'll see the under part of it, but it's still a decent effect. And unlike Monster Arts, where you have a joint to put this in, like a little hole in the bottom, there's a way to do this, and you need to decapitate. This is another problem. These stupid ass rubber joints just don't want to go on right. To use the Atomic Breath, you're going to need this mouthpiece. It's very very Godzilla. If I could get it to focus better. Yeah, I mean, that's a mouth, I guess. And it just plugs onto the head like so. I think that's in. There's no pop or anything, so it just like slides in. And yeah, you could just have him roaring forever with no tongue, which is a little weird. Or you could stick this in his mouth and he roars with Atomic Breath. It's a cool ability, I guess. It works a lot like the Monster Arts, where instead of the whole head coming off, you really only had to take off the jaw, which I guess makes this one easier, but at the same time, it's more plastic for pretty much the same thing. And on the topic of more plastic, this guy also comes with this neck joint. And the reason for this is so we can do the shooting into the sky ability. I hate how easy these things fall off. And I think that's why the main reason. Why is it just one ball joint? Anyway, all you're supposed to do is just take all the other pieces, the neck and the open mouth, and I think it just goes on like so. Like I said, there's no pop or anything, so you really just have to like trust that it's in there. And after you've done that, just like in the normal neck position, you just slide Godzilla's Atomic Breath piece in, You just adjust him looking up, and now you've got the recreation scene from 2019. Pretty sweet, but one question. This is marketed as the 2021 version, so why does he come with a neck joint that only the 2019 Godzilla did? A little weird that he's marketed for a different version, but all the Hiya stands are going to come at me and say that I'm just being annoying, so I'm going to shut up and say this is cool and we're moving on. And this guy is not short. This guy stands at 7 inches tall, and he's pretty massive. So let's start with the first comparison. The NECA 2019 Atomic Blast version. The NECA 2019 Burning Godzilla. The NECA Heisei Godzilla, just because I had him on hand for this review. The SH Monster Arts Kong 2024 version, and I actually do really like the scale with these guys. Wow, that guy's huge. And just because I have them, the Legacy United Hotshot. This is not the next review, this is just something that I had on hand because I got it early. Whatever. And of course, how could I forget? Here is Hiya Godzilla next to the SH Monster Arts 2024 Godzilla. Of course, since I'm a human being, I'm gonna have my own opinions and beliefs about either Godzilla, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion about this. So I say this with 100% honesty when I say that I do not see myself switching over to Hiya when it comes to my, I guess, higher branded priced Godzilla figures, if you want to call it that. Don't get me wrong, I both love these guys. I think they're fantastic figures. I still think Monster Arts in a sense is better at some parts of it. Because yes, there are parts that Monster Arts does do very, very wrong. But there are also parts that I don't really enjoy about Hiya's Godzilla. And while both of them are still extremely valid in their own markets, I still prefer Monster Arts for some reason. Overall, I think it just comes down to, it really depends on what you want to do. If you have the money for Monster Arts, go for it. But if you like the more cheaper side to Hiya, then that's not wrong either. I just think it's all up to perspective, I guess. So if you enjoy Hiya, go for it. If you enjoy Monster Arts, go for it. At the end of the day, it's always going to be up to the buyer. There's never going to be a who's better, who's worser competition. Worser's not even a word. What am I talking about? Like I said, it has to be up to you. You cannot let other people just influence your feelings about something. If you really like Hiya, go for Hiya. I would recommend you to do that if you really want to. If you love Hiya, then go for it. I basically just tried making the most out of this video by just saying it's whatever you want to spend your money on. If you want Monster Arts, that's fine. If you want Hiya, that's fine. It shouldn't be such a heated battle that people are making it out to be. It's two different companies offering the same thing, articulated Godzillas, which, if you think about it, wow, we are so bougie. Trying to wrap this all up without going on for too long, they're both extremely valid in collecting, and it just matters on what you want to collect. I think there shouldn't be such a discourse over these two Godzilla figures, and honestly, I feel like if people just agreed to agree on what they liked, then maybe the world would be a better place, I guess. Because it doesn't matter if you're an SH Monster Arts fanboy or a Hiya hype beast. At the end of the day, we're still collecting these little Godzilla figures just for our own enjoyment. So does it really matter which one's better, which one's worse? Apparently to some people it does. But, like I said, they're both extremely great figures. And if you do not have a Hiya Godzilla, I do recommend picking it up. This was a review overall, so I'm going to tell you what I honestly thought about it. To end this all so that I'm not going on for an extremely long tangent, the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla vs. Kong Translucent Godzilla is a fantastic release that I think everyone should try to at least track down. And if you can't track this guy down, track down any other version of Hiya's Godzilla. They're damn good figures, and I do understand all the hype that they get. I do actually understand. But, like I said, I have my favorites, I have my opinions. But I still cannot lie when I say this is damn good quality product. Thank you all so much for watching. I actually really wanted to look at Hiya for a long time. I mean, being a Monster Arts fanboy myself, I really wanted to see if they were up to all that, you know, better than Monster Arts. And while I could say they're both good, I still do really like Monster Arts. It's just that it wasn't my real cup of tea, I guess, with Hiya. Well, I guess we know my opinion on that now. Like, comment, and... What the hell is that noise? I bet you weren't expecting this, were you? Hello everyone, this is Omega the Real, in the flesh. You probably haven't even seen me more than a hand or an arm, so here I am. I exist, I'm real. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I know we missed the mark on it by 120, so that's my fault entirely, but I do want to say I appreciate every single one of you. God, it's hard to breathe in this. I really mean this fully, honestly, that you guys make it all worth it. When I see that the videos have been doing good, the shorts have been doing good, whenever I see that positive growth, it just makes it all worth it. That I'm able to provide, you know, enjoyment and entertainment to at least some people. It doesn't make it seem all that bad, honestly. We've had some slow times, some uneventful times, but all the times that have been good, I really do appreciate every single viewer, subscriber, commenter, and even people that share and don't even like or subscribe to the videos. I really do appreciate all of it. It's a huge honor that you've let me grow to 1,000 and hopefully so much more in the future. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to continue doing YouTube. Seeing that 1,000 subscriber mark, it's activated something in me, if you could say, that what I'm doing it's getting somewhere. And 1,000 is a huge milestone. If you don't consider it to be a huge milestone, then that's your fault, but I consider it as one. It is something I've dreamed about for years, and motherfucker. Finally, after 4 years of YouTube, we finally reached that goal of 1,000, and it feels good to say that I have 1,000 subs now. It doesn't make me seem that much of a loser as much, but I do really appreciate every single one of you. I can't say that enough. It is, without a doubt, thank you. I really do appreciate everything you've done for the channel and for me, my livelihood. Yeah, thank you so much. Expect another video like this at around 10, 50, or 100K, I guess, because I'm not gonna stop. I'm not stopping here. I might slow down, I might take breaks, but in no way am I stopping. And if you hear the fan over there, that's my bad. It's hot as hell, and it's also almost July in California, so that's kind of on me, not you, so that's fine. We're almost done here. Final thoughts is just thank you for 1,000. I cannot say that enough. Over and over, I have to repeat it. Thank you for all the support you've given me. Well, that's it for this time. My name is Omega, and I see you all later. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.